and welcome to the Divorce Women's Guide podcast, where we talk about the things us divorcees are thinking, but not always talking about, as we turn our divorce into the best gift we've ever been given. And I do so with a little bit of sass and a whole lot of class. I am your host, Wendy Sterling, founder of the Divorce Rehab. I am here to support you in this transition phase of your life so you can start your new best chapter on your own terms. After all, that's what I did after my own divorce. And now it is my mission to change the conversation around divorce and help you see why your divorce, like mine, was the best gift you ever received. Hi, everybody. How are you? Welcome to another episode of the Divorce Women's Guide podcast. I am so excited that you are tuning in with me today. For those of you who follow me on Facebook, I have been doing a series on my Facebook page called Stepping into Your Feminine Energy. Really, it's about how we tap into that feminine power more so. And you can check out all of those lives that I'm doing and interact with me as I am doing those series, and you can go back and watch them as well. I wanted to actually come in here and talk to you about the topic that I talked about today, which has a lot of relevance, I think, in the world right now, and just in the way that we tend to default in as women. And that has to do with, what I call the second step of stepping into your feminine power. And that has to do with us really putting self-care and self-worth at the forefront of our divorce recovery process. Now, if any of you are men who are tuning in today, both men and women possess masculine and feminine energy. So everything I am talking about today is extremely relevant to you as well. So I really highly encourage you to tune in and to really just pay attention and listen to what it is that you might be missing out on in your life as a result of not stepping into that femininity. So in today's society, you guys, I mean, think about it. We have grown accustomed to really leaning into and owning and projecting our masculine energy, right? Our masculine energy is something that is very linear. It tends to be goal-oriented, right? Results-driven, right? That's where your competitiveness lays. Hi, I'm a Leo, very competitive. Many of you are competitive out there too. Your masculine energy also comes out in your ability to be direct. That's when you tend to be a risk taker. That is also your masculine energy, right? It's that forceful. And on the flip side, and what I'm teaching in this series, and also what I wanted to come in and talk to you guys about today, is really how the feminine energy is really the piece of us that enables us to truly step into our true and most authentic power. And the feminine energy is really that nurturing side, the compassionate side of you. That's the person in you that is collaborative, that is loving, that feels, right? That's in the flow. And the feminine is when we have a deeper inner connection with ourselves. And it's where we tend to be the most creative. And when we allow things to flow, that means that we're sort of getting out of our heads and really tapping into our soul, into our energy, into our heart, and really allowing ourselves to actually move forward with more ease than when we're in our masculine, when everything feels really hard. And that's what I want to start out by talking to you guys about today, right? Is that when we're in that masculine energy, right? We're in the like, I can get shit done attitude, right? What ends up happening is that we tend to get into this constant state of doing. And it's how many things can I get done? How many things can I cross off my list, right? And it's something that we tend to just autopilot back into, right? It's something that we're so accustomed to falling into, right? Especially when we have kids and we've got a lot of stuff to do, and homeschooling and meals and homework. And, you know, if any of your kids are playing sports, like there's all these things that we're trying to juggle. And here's the thing is that when we connect with our feminine energy, when we're in our masculine and we think about connecting into our feminine energy, what ends up happening is we kind of get a little uncomfortable, right? How many of you guys, like when you heard me say those words, nurture and compassion and love, it feels soft, it feels lovely. And then you're like, well, how is that going to move me forward, right? And a lot of that is because we misunderstand what feminine energy truly means, the strengths in our feminine energy, right? Because we interpret femininity and feminine energy to seem rather weak and needy, right? Versus recognizing the power and the beauty and the strength that comes with our femininity. And interestingly enough, this is a realization I had not too long ago, right? And part of that realization was also coupled with another one, which had to do with the fact that, like, I'm somebody that, like, I feel like I have to do it all. Even when I was married, I was like, it's all on me. I have to do it all. And one of the greatest gifts in my divorce was actually realizing I don't, like, I don't have to do it all, right? And I equate that to, like, you don't have to be the A+ student grade in your life anymore, right? It's okay to get a B+ every now and then, right? And I feel like we put so much attachment of our worth in our accomplishments. And if we're not working hard, it means that we're accomplishing nothing. And I'm here to tell you that that is completely and utterly wrong. And I want to encourage you to shift out of that thought process, right? Women especially, we take on so much with the belief that that's what we're supposed to do because that's our role and that equates to our worth. And we place so much of our self-worth and value on achieving things or crossing things off a list, right? Doing things that are outside of us. And what happens is when your self-worth is so closely tied to things outside of you, you're actually releasing control of your own value and self-worth. And on top of that, what happened when you got divorced, right? What happens when they're removed? Those identities are removed, right? And even think about the pain and suffering that you're going through, even trying to just keep that shit in place, right? How many of you are people pleasers, right? How many of you are creating a life that mirror what you think you're supposed to have? But in reality, it doesn't feel good. It's not in alignment with what you desire, what you truly, truly want and desire from your life, right? And that's just the tip of the iceberg. How many of you can relate to that, right? And Lord knows I have been guilty of many and or all of the above at some point or another in my life. And I know that when I uttered the words divorce, I remember looking at myself in the car mirror afterwards. I walked out of our couples therapist office. And I remember looking in the mirror in the car going, holy shit, who the hell am I? Like, I had no idea who was staring back at me. I had no idea who I was without him. And it was such a wake-up call for me, you guys. It was a massive wake-up call that my entire self-worth was rooted in my role in our marriage. And it was a day and a moment that I will never forget. And I remember making a vow, never again, never again. I get to step into my power, my feminine energy, and claim my own worth through loving myself. And listen, guys, I'm not going to lie. It was so freaking hard. I mean, so hard. Because what it taught me was that I was actually staying in my masculine energy more so than I wanted to. And at the time, I didn't even really understand what the difference was. But I didn't really necessarily understand that there was a difference between the masculine and the feminine. Hey, it's Wendy here. I wanted to take a quick break from the conversation to let you know about another free event I'm hosting on Tuesday, September 29th about divorce and narcissism. If you're somebody who is divorcing a narcissist or someone with narcissistic characteristics, this is something you don't want to miss. You will learn what you need to know before you divorce a narcissist, how to successfully negotiate with one, learn financial hacks, how to set boundaries and co-parent with a narcissist, and so much more. The event is free and it's live, and all you have to do is register today by visiting divorceandnarcissism.com. Again, the event is live on Tuesday, September 29th, so block your calendar today. And now let's jump back into the conversation. What I learned and what I'm here to talk to you guys about today is that the best thing that you can do to improve your self-worth is to step up your self-care game. Because when we take care of ourselves, you guys, we're actually showing ourselves that we are worthy and so worthy of self-love. And we value ourselves when we practice that self-care, when we put our needs first. And one of the most wonderful things about putting ourselves first is that the more we get into the practice of it, the better we feel about ourselves, right? And there's a reason that when you get on an airplane, the flight attendant says to you, especially if you have kids, put on your face mask or put on your oxygen mask first before you assist your children, right? And they don't just say it over the loudspeaker. They have a flight attendant walk up to you and repeat the language. The reason being that repetition, the consistency in hearing it, I mean, you probably just heard me repeat it verbatim. It is sunk in. I know to put mine on first and then my children, right? And when we think about doing things for ourselves first in life, it's the opposite, right? And this is something that I teach my clients, right? Is to get them out of the habit of doing for everyone else and putting themselves last, right? And as the flight attendants are repetitive in sharing the language with you about what it is that you get to do on the airplane, that's what being in practice means. It's about consistency, right? And a lot of times I hear that, self-care to people means like these grandiose big things like, oh, I have to go get an hour-long massage, or, oh, that's a vacation, or that's, these big things. And what I preach all about is the small victories. It's all about the small celebrations, the small ways that we get to take care of ourselves. And it's across mind, body, spirit, right? It's nourishing the mind through reading a book, going to visit an outdoor art exhibition, right? Body, it's about exercising more, putting more green vegetables in your body, drinking more water, vitamins, okay? And then soul, what are things that light your soul on fire, right? Is it meditation? Is it a gratitude practice? Is it taking a walk and smelling the roses, literally, right? Perhaps it's even just treating yourself to a Starbucks or to a smoothie, right? Treating yourself to self-care is easier than you give yourselves credit for. You don't need that much time. And it's so easy for us to forget our own needs, especially when we have our kids. And that is actually when you're supposed to be doing more self-care, right? Doing more things that bring you joy, that help you to feel good about yourself, to nourish your mind, body, and spirit, because that's how you bring joy into your life, how you are able to actually handle life better. Life doesn't have to be hard. We choose to make it hard. Life gets to be easy. And part of that is sitting into and surrendering to the flow of the feminine, right? Filling your feminine cup or putting your feminine oxygen mask on first, right? Feminine energy is all about the being, whereas the masculine's about the doing. And of course, in our day and time in life right now, especially with COVID, right? We are busy. We are constantly doing X, Y, Z. We're constantly thinking about Purell or, hand sanitizer and wearing our mask and staying 6 feet apart. And we're in constant decision-making mode. And that's the masculine, right? Hustle, that hustle and bustle, taking action, fixing things. But what ends up happening? How many of you are exhausted? I know I am. I remember how much more I was. And it wasn't until I started learning and practicing, leaning into and surrendering to my feminine energy, that I actually felt how much easier life gets to be. And yes, I do practice mindfulness quite a bit, right? Mindfulness being that you get to be present with your thoughts without judgment. So that means that I am truly living more in the moment, and I let go of what's on my to-do list, right? Like if the laundry sits one more day, big deal, not a big deal. I'll fold it tomorrow, right? So I want to encourage all of you guys to start surrendering and living more in the flow, right? Rather than forcing yourself to get things done. Because all you're doing is overworking yourself. You're depleting yourself. You're making things harder for yourself. Today, experience your life in the now, in the present. Be present in this moment, right? You may find out that you'll get the results you want even faster, and you'll feel really good doing it, right? So today, relax, take inspired action. That's when the flow happens, right? And that's when you get to enjoy life more. And it's something you get to continue to work on every single day. And over time, with the consistency of it, it becomes a habit, right? I know so many of you going through divorce feel pain, right? And a lot of that pain, you guys, is really rooted in your constant reminder of the past, reliving it over and over and over again. Let me ask you a question. Did you know that letting go of that past and pain will actually free your energy up to be able to stay present and be in your feminine? Because reliving your past is you doing it over and over and over again. You're in the doing. And I encourage you to ask yourself this question, right? Is the pain of your past worth the future happiness that literally is in front of you, that is within grasp? Sometimes that might be enough for you to start releasing it and start your recovery process. Tend to yourselves, you guys. Tend to yourself like you would a flower in your garden, right? Water, sun, nutrients. That's what you get to give yourself because it's vital to your health. It's vital to your mental state. It's vital to how you move through this process. And self-care is really a process of reconnecting with who it is that you truly are and what is important to you in this moment. It is so much deeper than just taking care of yourself. Thank you guys for tuning in today. I always love to hear your feedback. So if you would, please shoot me an email, wendy@wendysterling.net, and let me know what landed for you. What was a learning? What resonated? What is something that is like percolating in your brain right now that you can't release, that you're really sitting with, that you are committing to make a change? You're committing to make a different choice. Share it with me. I would love to hear from you guys. I hope that you guys have a beautiful rest of your day, whatever it is that you are doing. And I am honored that you chose to spend this time with me today. As always, sending you tons of love, light, and joy. Mwah. Bye, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Divorced Woman's Guide podcast. If you like what you hear, please share this episode with someone you know or spread the word on social media. This is how I reach more divorcees around the world and provide them with the support they need to create their next best life. And I would also love to continue the conversation with you. So please friend me on Facebook, join my private Facebook group, The Divorce Rehab, and follow me on Instagram @Divorce Rehab with Wendy. I'll see you next time.